ceded territory of the Wiyot tribe. I do this land acknowledgement to encourage folks to honor the Indigenous relationship with their homeland and to encourage direct giving to tribes and Native led efforts. Humboldt County is home to many tribes, including the Hoopa, the Karok, the Matole, the Tolowa, the Wailaki, the Wiyot, the Yurok, and more. Again, we want our words to be matched with actions, so please learn from your local Indigenous communities for the next steps in how to make meaningful land acknowledgements and actions. You can check out Honor Tax websites, and also online you could use a map to find what native land you're on if you are not in Humboldt County. And then I also just want to acknowledge that the labor upon which our country, state, and institutions are built was built on the labor of enslaved people who were kidnapped and brought from the US from the African continent. I want to recognize the continuing contributions of their survivors and also acknowledge all immigrant labor, including voluntary, involuntary, and trafficked people who serve on our labor force. And
can I jump in and say welcome, Mo? Thank you so much for joining us. I'm sorry, I got stuck on a phone call just before, but I'm so happy that you can join us and that we can engage with you and all your awesome creativity and the work that you do in this community. Thank you.
It's awesome. Thanks for having me.
Hi, you're welcome. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. I just want to jump in and say hello.
Perfect.
And thanks for coming.
So yes, thanks everyone for coming. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about myself and my artist journey. I'm gonna share a hip hop theater piece from a old theater troupe I was in, and then I will share my work in progress that I currently have. So like I said, I'm from Western Massachusetts. I grew up in Springfield, Mass. And I grew up doing a lot of different art forms, performing arts, dance. I was given a film camera at a really young age from a great aunt who was a photographer. And she would buy me film and just equip me all the time. And that's kind of where I started being just the friend that takes photos, and that soon shifted into video work, and I was really into writing screenplays and creating films and making storyboards. And I made my first short film about domestic violence when I was about 15. And then I went on to make some documentary style pieces around the various groups that really shaped my life. One of those being Project 2050, which was a hip hop theater ensemble out of UMass Amherst. New World Theater was the parent umbrella that we were under. And it was a group for inner city youth to have a chance to be trained by professionals in hip hop theater and in the theater world, which would have otherwise been out of reach for all, if not most, of the kids that were in that group. And that's where I really further fell in love with performative arts. And it was one of the first times I saw people that looked like me or were trained by people that looked like me. I was always in dance classes, but I was always the minority in those groups. Not to say, and I ended up leaving most that level of dance training because it was a weird environment to be an adolescent in. But Project 2050, spoken word, breaking, graffiti, knowledge for power sessions where you have information sessions that talk about the revolution that came along with many of the art forms that we see in hip hop theater or in Black art creation. So learning about Haitian revolts and the Black Panther Party, unseen revolutionaries, things that were not mentioned in my high school curriculum to do with Black history, I was learning in an art space, which really molded me becoming an arts activist and framing politics and, social impact into a lot of the work that I create. So after high school, as an adult, I went to college for media production, and I 2050 molded from the youth program, and we, as individuals, created a group for adult artists, and that was called 2050 Legacy. And we kept those same themes of, using art for revolution and using hip hop theater techniques. And we worked together. I think we started that group in 2010. So a few years after high school. And then I was present in that group until about 2015. And that's when I moved to Humboldt. And really, my art has shifted so much into art education, moving to Humboldt. I ended up getting a BA in arts education after I got my associates in media production. And it really morphed what my art became and how I used art as a tool to become a teacher and an educator, and finally to use performing arts and writing techniques to do a lot of racial equity teaching as well. So not so much performative as I used to be, but I started working on this photography book with past poetry, and it really started to blossom into something, and I wanted to give myself kind of like something tangible to work on art-wise. And I also recently did the Art on the Fence, which I'm not really a painter, and nor have I ever really painted anything as large. So it was a challenge, but it was also really fun. And I'm glad that I got to be a part of that. And so I want to share a show from 2050 Legacy. It's from June of 2014, I believe. We were in Montreal at a performing arts conference. It's called Encuentro. It happens, I think, every other year, and it's in a different place every year. So this is actually the second time we went. The first time it was in Brazil. And it's a short piece that has many layers. And it was a part of a bigger show, but I wanted to just share this little bit of my past with everyone before we move forward.
Notes on the possibility of redemption for the United States. I know you're out there. I can feel you. You can feel me too, right?
Yeah.
I'm done running, done hiding. You don't have to search for me anymore. But whether I'm done fighting is up to you. I firmly believe that we all want to change this world. Just as I believe believe that this matrix can become our cage or can become our chrysalis. I used to look out into the world and only see its edges, its limits. But now I see another world. And I can't take you there. But if you free your mind, maybe, just maybe, you'll find your way.
We're breathing time. Inhale to start living. Exhale to start dying. In to rewind time, so I hold mine in. Stand over you in bed and think to myself that maybe, just maybe, one day you'll wake up and think to yourself, what the fuck am I doing? I did it every day. But no matter how long I held time in my mouth, nothing worked.
Imagine, I've been diagnosed. My disease manufactured, much like crack or AIDS. Implemented in society, I've been diagnosed with poverty. It's terminal and spreading quickly. And no matter how hard I pull on my bootstraps, there is paper in my veins. If I can be the ancestor to abolish poverty, I start my history now. See, I was there the day the last word was spoken. Silence blew over like a candle, softly gone out. Visions of you are not found because no one wants to see your true capability personified. I was there the day the last word was spoken. Imagine.
Broken homes plagued by broken themes, shattered windows on my boulevard of broken dreams. Tender adolescence, innocence and violence, trying to find somewhere to land, not looking for a lending hand, because I've been skydiving to nowhere since day one. Red light, go, green light, stop.
Forgive us our sins. Don't let us off the hook so easy. It was us, dressed in assault weapon lies. Empty your pockets. Nah, turn them inside out. Empty your pockets. Show me your truths. Ours are much deeper and darker. The lost boys of Machete Massacres. The gender genocide troop. Hordes and hoarding of weapons of mass hate. Mutilators of sex. Spine-tingling slavers.
We wonder, where do we go? Where do we go for being a good person in life? We want there to be an afterlife. And if there is no moving on, what I wonder most, what do you think we should do to redeem ourselves.
Is it a good deed done if it's done in order to be redeemed? Is it a good sleep slept if measured by the dream? The ways I shape my maze betray the ways I stayed a slave. Cause we talk that change the game but speak the same slang. This is what makes me an outsider. If there's a box by ideas on a platform outside of, how can I ever be of use to anything if I'm always on the other side of? Is this redemption what I would die for?
Impossible. Not called improbable.
Yes. Ridiculous.
Defunded.
Discounted.
It was the truth.
So yeah, that's 2050 Legacy. The group was performing for a while after I left it, but I don't think they're doing anything right now. But you can find out more by just Googling 2050 Legacy or going to 2050legacy.com. That mashup of styles is generally how I like to create. So I felt like sharing that with you guys. So now, oh, excuse me, my thing's playing. Okay. Oh, technology. So now I'm gonna just share the compilation I created. This chapbook, I want it to be print, so it would be photos and poetry. And so the best way I figured to put this together for this virtual platform was to make a video. So I'm going to share that video. And then afterwards we can talk about it. It's a work in progress. And I kind of put the video together for this event and then realized the potential that the video could have. So I created a project, making a project, but so I'm open to any type of questions or input or feedback that anyone has afterwards. So here we go. I am from the land created when worlds collide, where knots meet silk, where waves crash to make curls bounce, where these worlds became one to be reduced by one, where dad was none and mom was supreme leader.
Bag a lady, you gon' hurt your back, dragging all them bags like that. I guess nobody ever told you, all you must hold on to is you, is you, is you.
I am from curry coconut smells that fill 2-bedroom apartments occupied by 5, where men play dad for a few weeks at a time, but always end up dimensions away, where dirt yards were my playpen and the concrete my jungle gym, where the neighborhood was always filled with children who looked like me. My brothers, sisters, cousins, mothers, aunts, and uncles.
One day, all them bags gon' get in your way. I said one day, all them bags gon' get in your way.
I am from summertime barbecues with cornbread and ice pops, where tag, hopscotch, and double dutch were Olympic events, and I didn't have to go inside until the street lights came up. Corner store adventures were always in my future. I am from ragged buildings guarded by potholes, Social Security, and Section 8, where AZT, shattered windows, and violent acts of helped my mother raise me.
I said one day, all them bags gon' get in your way. One day, all them bags gon' get in your way. So, pack life, pack life, whoa.
I am from new beginnings of progression and a chance at opportunity, where sneaky Saturdays led to sore subject Sundays of punishment, where new lovers and experiments would scare my mother to death.
One day, he gon' say, you're crowding my space. One day, he gon' say, you're crowding my space. I said one day, he gon' say, you're crowding my space.
I am from broken relationships that would leave Poncho grazing in the living room, laughing and crying, where sickness forces the burden of adulthood and silent sobs, where I'm sorry or I'm here for you just doesn't suffice.
Bag lady, you gon' hurt your back, dragging all them bags like that. I guess nobody ever told you, all you must hold on to is you, is you, is you.
I am from introductions of compassion and pain, where strength and triumph bring me to conquer my burdens, where mountains don't need to be climbed, just admired, where the breeze is always the right temperature and tickles my sense with the smell of fresh cotton.
One day, all them bags gon' get in your way. One day, all them bags gon' get in your way. I said one day, all them bags gon' get in your way. So, pack life, pack life, oh yeah, yeah.
I am from drops of ecstasy and free moving feet, where the music always has a dance rhythm and the food the perfect amount of spice, where my curls always fall with courage and form from the root to tip, where I never have to think twice because the chicken was cooked just right, the rice has the ideal bean ratio, and it always seems to taste just like my mother's.
So, pack life, pack life, oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
This brown skin can be such a sin, forcing me to look nothing like my kin. Wearing my father's nose with sharper edges, my mother's eyes, but if a deep brown hue, never to fit into one box. Hair so voluminous with beads that clack, teased by voices so venomous, it took me so long just to love her back. This brown skin sends me to the shores of Haiti, with an obvious high yellow tint, Give me some sun and I'll show you I too am a brown-skinned girl, with skin just like pearls. Face full of freckles and hair a dark shade of red. They know she must be mixed because we don't see those things around here. Never to fit into one box. History connects me through trauma while my ancestors danced on stolen land. African rhythm meets Taino dialect and a Creole is born. Sac passe, nabole. A community laced in love triangles. Como se va? Se va oui. Dragged overseas for new beginnings and still not knowing what the future holds. These are my links between an unfamiliar father and an ignorant mother, both of which hate one another. This brown skin started out as a lie that soon became my sore thumb. 1 out of 2 out of 100 isn't quite a fair ratio, especially when my brother helps me create that army of 2. My brother is afraid of the curry goat on his plate, while my mother fears we'll never learn the struggle of what comes next. My neighbors are mixed and muddled just like us, braids and curls, and black and brown swirls. The African diaspora behind every door, but opportunity comes with whiteness. My school of choice confused at the texture of my hair, full of struggle and emotions, musically accented by wooden beads. I'm puzzled why it isn't golden or swaying in the wind, but instead of cursing my creators, I bottle and keep these thoughts inside, and about them I have lied, because there's nothing new about tears cried. Never to fit into one box. Convinced the kids are right about my adoption, how does someone so fair create a mixture worth stares, fuzzy hair, and eyes so dark? Never to fit into one box. Smooth butter, cocoa lips, eyes dark as night, providing lasting light, 'cause hope grows faster than fear can demolish it. Now that's black girl magic. Smooth, endless skin with minds fast as wind whirl while rockin' style that is untouchable. Now that's black girl magic. Smiling through the tears, tearing through all the years, wearing pain like the pearls they never receive as gifts. Reading books that they were never taught to lift. Now that's black girl magic. Correcting the mispronunciations, never getting stuck on the fixations of ways we are able to provide love but receive none in return. Now that's black girl magic. Sharing myself with crowds that never cared, will never attempt to nurture and forget me when I'm gone. Now that's black girl magic. Oh, black boy, why do you frown? Look at your curls spiral from this crown. Do you know where your roots begin? Sweet black boy, why do you sigh? While the sun continues to shine, do you know what this skin can do? Dear black boy, why must you hide? You could never be overlooked with pride so wide. Do you know you're worth more than diamonds? Sweet black boy, why don't you cry? You're still too young to worry of time, yet the Father's working against you. But this path you make could take you anywhere. Don't listen to their lies. Black boy, you need to rise. I love and nurture and praise and build and cry and speak to you, sweet black boy. But are you as much of me as I am of you? Black boys die by the bullet, so black mothers must count struck by the moment, to hold and to love and to cherish these dear Black boys. Sometimes I forget to think forward instead of only backwards. These preconceived notions got me twisted, but I still need to make a plan. Will there be a tomorrow? Will I make it until Monday? What will the next 5 years in this skin reveal? The breeze carries me right, but a girl does fare with a little intention. Maybe I'm overreacting and need to channel differently. Get comfortable enough to stop pushing myself forward and finally create a sense of calm. Slow my thinking and settle for simple. Just enough. That's perfect. No fighting, no battling, no rushing or wishing for another day, time, or place. My brain is eager to keep moving, so I don't think the come down will be anytime soon. Fighting these high waters, exhausting myself until I learn to move slow through the floods and make moves only when the tide is low. I'll tread slow, as not to wind up with my head underwater. Hey, hello. How are you? I'm well, thanks for asking. I'm kind of in a rush, but not sure for what. But I am rushing to get there. You should come too. I've got so many places to go, to see, to experience. So much to learn, to do, to grow from. And I, personally speaking, I've got to get there now. I was always told to reach for the stars and never sell myself short. And honestly, lately, I've been feeling short. So now, I'm reaching and preaching and wishing and hoping and taking and giving and pushing and shoving, even though I've yet to see the results. Do you know the best path to get there? Or maybe you could give me some direction. Because myself, I am lost. And I think I've been lost for a while. But who really knows? What is lost anyways? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and I can't carry everything. But I like the idea of you next to me with all the time you bring. Singing songs helps me remember things, but I'm still not sure where I'm rushing to. But wherever I am going, I know I'm running late. Because although I stick to my schedule, I'm always behind, always last, always scraping from the bottom, always reaching and preaching and wishing and hoping and taking and giving and pushing and shoving. But if I get to where I'm headed, I'll be on the top, shining and signing my fate, and winning and grinning and gaining and sustaining and smiling for everyone to see. And not just a mask, a real smile, one that creases my cheeks because it runs so deep. But again, I need to get there. Maybe I'll stop for coffee and a bathroom break or two, pull over to snooze and take more time to booze, but eventually I will get there and I'll have nothing to lose. I'll take after dinner strolls and walk my dog slow, watch the waves crash and no longer finish last. I'll have so many paths to walk. With my legs strong to push me, I'll never get tired. It'll be great. Everyone will be my friend, and I will befriend everyone. My accomplishments will grow from the ground, and only the healthiest foods will fall from the sky. It'll rain lemonade, and I'll enjoy every day. But then again, I need to get there. So enough of my babble. I've got to get back to my path. Start up my engine and get those miles rolling, or I'll be stuck, reaching and preaching and wishing and hoping and taking and giving and pushing and shoving. Hear my voice, I'll persist. Take my hand, I insist. you'll need to prepare. I'm going to take you for a ride. See me hide, see me find, hear me search, taste me perch, and settle to only do better. You've watched me grow as we all learn to know the best thing about yourself is your truest soul. Hear me worry, hear me shout, watch me stunt, and watch me pout. Learn about me through words exchanged. I'll be engaged, I promise. Although my mind is synthetic and I can be quite pathetic, my words were quite opposite than expected, because my mind's been inspected for disgusted outcomes. How come we push and shove to show love? Feel the real, because that's where I keep it real. Steal the thoughts of the world and vocalize them from the point of view of a girl. Yes, girl, woman, niña, she. The end of the world, but the beginning of thee. Moving motion, slowly coasting, on my way up, my voice boasting. Full to the top with self-loathing, cause all I want is a reason to shine. My time, my chance. New media, super encyclopedias to add to my stress of cornucopia. Of knowledge, cause no one's telling me shit. Cause all I want is a reason to shine. My time, my chance, more knowledge. Cause nobody's telling me shit. I learn from the gains and I gain from the hits. But watch out, cause I'm on the path of return, rebirth, relearn, re-earth myself to reality to plainly see. The beginning ends with a project and it starts with legacy. Once upon a time, there was a girl who thought she could take on the world. But the first time her heart fell flat, she never thought she'd get it back. And she was left, hurt and disheveled. Never thought the heart could run her vessel again. And here I am, over a long distance in my room writing poetry because lately she seems to be the only thing inspiring me. If only she could see the way she blooms through me. It's funny, see. I have few fond memories of times we would depend on each other and she would hold me, to hear me, to see me, to water my flowers, to grow me. This relationship is the biggest storm I'm battling and my only hopes for sanity. Although I need to detach and find some solo clarity. She's struggling tough, can't seem to find sobriety. So I'll just have no hopes for tomorrow. But I'm far from bitter. Soaking in the good, I'll overanalyze our yesterdays, leaving her truest form on the bay as she sails far away. Wondering when I'll get over this loveless girl and ditch her, switch her, in for a goddess, ready for companionship. Well over her abandonment and no longer living through resentment. Hands finally free from the torment, so we can make eye contact and deliver what's meant. Give and forget, to take like I'll never give today. Can't continue to regret. This life is short and in pain we pay, stretch until uncomfortable but still we stay until we snap back to never again lay the same way. Pushing it, trying hard for a comeback, waiting for them to say, "You've done it, baby girl. You're your authentic self today." The day we met in color, I knew it to be true and my chest hung heavily. Light pain pinched at my insides, but I only shrieked out giddily. Without words to describe it, not sure where I was going, I dragged it, and tumbling in the rumble behind me, I almost lost it. Poking at dead flesh, I wished for resurrection. But with nothing but tangled, vicious lines attacked to my lungs like vines, I choked on words that were meant to be, and I left behind all apology. Staring in this mirror, I know this girl is me, and I have more than a hunch that our hearts can learn to be, pumping with intention. I can tell in the way she looks at me, truthfully and sincerely, and I'm the fool wondering if this is eternity. Looking around every corner for a reason why we shouldn't be planting these seeds to swim in this pool of self-love ecstasy. Fear is something I won't admit and will probably never explore until my time has quit. The clock is ticking, and I need to realize that these times will skip. Slow, and I've been trying for us, doing things I never dreamt about since you caught me in your cusp, telling you it's lust because love shouldn't be this hard to trust. But I trust your words because they rise clean, and you always state exactly what you mean, because the truest love I'll ever find is between me and me. People claim to know me, but can't see me transparently. Say they're evolving, but aren't willing to heal vulnerably. My mother never taught me to feel to the point I would bear it all. Never touched me caringly or would hug me when my cries would call. So yes, my guard is up, and I've been overfilled my cup, steady surrounded in cement, stuck, until my integrity crumbles like the sediment, washing away any proof like when the rain falls on the pavement. One time I had all cards in and I thought it was upkept. And even with all my eggs in the basket, decided it wasn't worth it, and I took off and leapt. Which would have been fine, except I gave my heart, body, and mind, and now I can't seem to find the time to open up and allow someone to be mine. Disrespected to the point of no return, underestimated, and now my tone is a stagnant burn. Cold snarls my prison, but also my bars, although I just want someone to admire the stars that I built and created with my own chemistry, which connected with another could easily ease my misery, but I need to learn to sit through memories until they no longer kill me from inside of me. This self-inflicted pain doesn't hit nearly as hard as indictive folks that go as soon as they came. But change is on the horizon, which is unsettling because I need to guarantee control. But easy as the stars twinkle on a night stroll, I've been tantalized by big brown eyes and lips that never lie but tell me that I'm beautiful. And I know they mean internally because I can tell by the way they gaze and look at me, never stuck on the surface, but to see me all the way through to my core. And yes, I can be so complicated. Choose to hook this opportunity and bait it as merely nothing, but being a king you watered and nurtured until you were my everything. Flower petals blooming beautifully all spring. And now it seems I can't remember a time in our life when we weren't growing for one another. Hey, I don't know if we can make it so other people can participate with us, but
Yeah, I think we can. We can make it so other people can participate with us.
perfect. I guess I just want to open it up to whoever wants to say things.
Yes, if anyone wants to just raise their hand, we can make that so they can talk.
Maybe we could just make Allie Friedland so she can talk. She's on a panelist there.
That was absolutely amazing. I honestly wished I had paid more attention to the poems. You know how you all of a sudden love a poem and a piece, and then you go, wait, I don't know what the title was. I want to reverse for a minute. But it was amazing, and all your work has been amazing. But this one in particular, I think it might have been the second to last one, and the way it just, the rhythm was just, your energy in your voice was so profound, and what you were saying was so electric. It was really great. I appreciate it.
Thanks. Yeah, I plan to, now that I put the video together and kind of almost love it completely, I want to figure out some way that maybe I'll split it up or something, but make them available on YouTube in some capacity. Thanks for your kind words too.
Sorry, we just had the heater going, so I had to
Okay,
just put my headphones in. I agree with Allie that it would be great to read them, to see them as well, and to go back through. I had a question about some of the photos. Are those all your photos that you took?
Majority of them, except for I chose to use some photos that people took of me for my brown skin poem, just because it was a little bit about my childhood. It was like a mix of some pictures I took of myself and then a few pictures that other people took of me. But other than that, yeah, all of the photography is my original film photography. And some of them were scanned into the computer and some were taken from a disc. Because sometimes I get them developed at CVS and they'll give you like a digital disc. And I did see that the scanned images translate better into the video.
Yeah, they were great. I love the photos. Just really great photos too. So good job. Thanks for that.
And I loved the percussion in the background. That was great.
Oh yeah, that's not my original drumming. I will say that. Maybe something I could attempt, but no, that's just like an instrumental of drum beats that I have from just dance and performance things I've been in. And I've collected that music over time.
It's interesting. Oh, sorry, go Al.
Oh no, this is Shoshana. I was just going to say it's so lovely to see so many facets of your artistic expression, because we haven't been in very many events together, and it's just lovely to see your piece. It's really exciting to see. Thank you for sharing so much.
Yeah, thanks.
All day we've been talking about from the Sovereignty Lab at HSU. Yesterday we talked to some women about a movie they're making called Woman Who Blooms at Night. And then with Judge Abby Abernathy and Laura Woods from the Yurok tribe, talking a lot about the confluence of art and healing and art and community. And with Woman Who Blooms at Night, they were talking about the film is about this young woman who's escaping domestic abuse, and she goes to the cultural center on her reservation and really finds her way through her culture and her art. And so I was just thinking about that with your Brown Boy poem. Was that the name of it? Of just the confluence of you to the larger, and what art does, poetry and visual, what that does for us. And for me, it allows me to, it's like it becomes a visceral, kinesthetic response to what you read in the news. And so I just appreciate that so much. Maybe you want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. Well, I think it happens in two ways. First being that when you're marginalized in any capacity, those are kind of the only stories you have to tell. And then when you can relate to groups that are marginalized on large scales, you tend to share stories. And then that's why, we end up relating to art pieces or falling in love with albums or whatever it may be, because we see ourselves in those pieces and in that, in those creative realms. And I think also that people can create art to heal. And sometimes it's almost as if the creation is the mark of being healed. because you're finally able to kind of look back and, you know, pull the lessons learned or the beautiful moments in you know, the downfall that were actually beautiful and, you know, helped you bloom. It's kind of like you go into the cocoon as a caterpillar and you come out a butterfly. Do you write your story while you're in the cocoon or when you become a butterfly after the cocoon? So I think that it can happen those two ways, but then also putting yourself in other people's shoes. I find myself oftentimes creating characters that have similar stories to mine and can write about them in ways that I struggle to write about myself. Although subconsciously somewhere, right, I am writing about myself or from my experience. So it's interesting. And then also just not having active spaces to create in anymore. When you're in a troupe or a creative group, you have people holding you accountable. You have deadlines, you have shows, you have things that are kind of feeding your creativity to create, right? You're being pushed because you need to complete something, but then you're also surrounded by creative people. And it's like you get a group of artists in a room together, they could create all day and it will take so many forms. I think that having those spaces are crucial. And as adults, we find them less often unless you're a paid creative, you know, it's like you go to work, maybe you have home life, and then you also try to find time to create art and then also heal from art and, you know, share yourself in vulnerable ways on top of everything. So that's also a large change, I think. And I was just like in a lot of youth groups as a kid, always creating something because I like arts-based things and my mother needed childcare. So it was kind of like a never-ending realm of opportunity to create or dance or, you know, play theater games or, you know, just have an artistic space to express myself all the time was also crucial in always turning to art for my healing sessions as well. Which, yeah, like I said, now is just a whole different thing as an adult.
There's a comment in the chat from Maggie Schaefer that says, I haven't been able to see all the presentations, but I have heard Vanessa earlier and was struck and impressed by Mo's and Vanessa's deeply personal but also universal poetry. So that's from
Thanks,
Maggie
Schaefer.
Schaefer.
Yeah, I would say, right, we talk, so many themes are the same, but the presentation is always different, which kind of, you know, that's what makes the world of art, right?
Yeah.
People inspiring people and sharing stories and having those shared experiences that make you say, oh man, I love this poem.
Mm-hmm.
I know exactly the feeling that she's creating. Or
right.
Whatever.
Or the feeling that you're pulling from it.
Yeah.
And that
Or
as a
sometimes,
poet, yeah.
My favorite is almost when you, I feel like it happens with music a lot. You fall in love with a song or something, it means something to you, and then you go to a space where that artist is talking about it and it's like completely different than what it does for you. But that's part of the medicine of art as well, right? Like we can share things, but then we can also be impacted in different ways and use the same thing in different ways.
Have you found as a poet, sorry, I'm going to hog all the things, but please, people, raise your hand and put your questions in the question and answer. Have you found as a poet, like I think people in this pandemic have turned towards poetry more than they have perhaps pre-pandemic? Have you found yourself as a poet and a writer engaging more as a poet and a writer, or having people reach out to you more?
I haven't actually. I actually was just talking with somebody else about the power of the open mic and how it's an in-person thing, and it's that safe space and community that makes it what it is and why it's so powerful and why you want to, you know, have something new for the open mic And we were talking about like, well, we don't hear poets like on the radio a bunch. And I was like, that's because it's a you got to be there kind of thing to, you know, see it and have it happen. And I think that with that COVID being hit, for me at least, it's not the same. And I even was going to participate in I was going to participate in a like online showcase, and I started recording myself reading the poems, and I watched the video back and I just was like, this is not it. Like, I don't like this. I feel awkward. I feel like my voice is weird. And obviously you always critique yourself when you like watch yourself or you hear your own voice, but it was just a different vibe. And I was like, I don't think this is for me. But I have really appreciated watching virtual open mics. There is like an ease to it watching folks, but just for myself performing in it, I felt it wasn't really giving me what I'm normally looking for from those spaces. And then, in all honesty, just creative wise, I have been sitting on this stack of poetry not for so long. A lot of it, like Young King, I wrote this year for Artists Dismantling Capitalism. And Black Girl Magic, I wrote during quarantine. But I've kind of had this collection of work that I really liked, and I wanted to do something with it, but I wasn't sure what. And I think it was like creating a little mental block for me, where I was just like, don't make anything new until you've decided what to do with your old stuff, which is problematic in itself, right? Because we don't need to produce for production. We're allowed to just create things and nothing happen with them. But having that happen was also kind of pushing me to do things I've never done before. So like I learned how to embroider during quarantine, and I've been painting a lot. The Art on the Fence project really challenged me, and then I decided that I really loved the whole process and it was a lot of fun. And so I've been painting a lot more, but I think just all in all, like words are my method of creation. I really like video production too. And so just like the visual arts word situation. And I love making covers to songs with like spoken word. As you heard, my first piece with Andrea, All Love. It's especially great when you have a poet friend who can sing really well. So like we can work together really well. And I really love creating pieces just like that one, where I'll cover a hip hop song or an R&B song, you know, write some words to the theme of that song or whatever I get from that song, and then put my spoken word with it.
So I was going to ask the same thing, but Laura Munoz asked in the question and answer, who and what are your biggest influences and inspirations as an artist?
Okay. I would say that hip hop was a huge influence in my life. Just growing up, I grew up on the East Coast. Hip hop is much more of a culture and a way of life. And the folks that I grew up creating with in my like adolescent were all hip hop themed people, but had like their own twist to it. And I always really loved that too. But political hip hop was like my jam as a child. In a lot of political figures, so like Angela Davis, Claudette Colvin, the Black Panther Party, I was really moved. Gil Scott, I was really moved by this idea of like words with power. NWA, KRS-One, Wu-Tang Clan. But then I had this aspiration for Broadway. My grandparents used to take me to Broadway shows all the time. And so like I saw Miss Saigon, 42nd Street. I was obsessed with Little Shop of Horrors for like 5 years, and Hairspray. This idea, which I guess doesn't really exist in my head anymore, but this idea that there was a separation between those dancers and myself, just because of the things that they were exposed to, or, you know, where they came from, what they looked like. I didn't really get introduced to like Alvin Ailey or any other Black dancers that weren't hip hop until I was older. And then I was really into old school films for a while. That piqued my interest around film photography. So like From Here to Eternity, On the Waterfront, Hitchcock, Tarantino was a thing for a while. And just the idea of creating films with, you know, artsy twists. And I was very quickly the friend that was always carrying around a camera or a video camera, or like I made a music video for the corner store's slushies for a contest.
Can we see it? Can we see it?
I don't even know where it exists. That's another thing that's really challenging. I was like right before the computer generation. So it's like so many things are just gone to the wind that I created. And then a lot of things I have now are like not compatible with our tech. So I have like mini DV tapes that are my movies, which, you know, you could get it to route, but then the quality is like, you know, a little pixely and stuff. But same thing with my negatives. I have so many just trash negatives, but I kept all those things for a reason, in hopes that it would, you know, turn into something and remind me of the things that inspire me. And just media consumption, I think in general, really inspired me to create media all the time.
I have a little mini DV recorder, like a camcorder thing.
Oh yeah, see, I still have mine too, and now my son is actually into making movies and like recording things, so it is fun. Yeah, and I could play the movie through the mini DV camcorder and put it into the computer. And there has to be something too where they like digitalize things to make the quality better, to match the HD.
That's really cool. I mean, we had 8 tracks when I was a kid, so I'm, you know, a little before that. So what do you see as, you know, like we're on this thing today of like, I dream a world. So what would be, as an artist, as a mother, as a woman of color in Humboldt, if you were to say, I dream a world, how would you finish that sentence or a paragraph?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm having this like starstruck moment where I'm like, of course I want everything good.
Yeah.
But I guess I want to see a world that's just representative of all the creative aspects to life, and that recognize that we create in so many ways every day, even if you don't pick up a paintbrush or write poetry. The flowers blooming in spring are, you know, creation. And then also just that people remember that you can create even if you haven't mastered something. It's okay to move even if you aren't a dancer. It's okay to sing if you aren't a professional singer. and release feels good. So yeah, that's the world I see.
Nice.
Authentic self and creation.
Sounds good. Sign me up. What are you up to besides what we've seen today? What other things are you up to in this world? Oh, wait, hold up. Before you answer my question, there's another question in the question and answer. I found the combination of your poetry, photos, and the constant drumbeat mesmerizing. While being mesmerized sometimes meant missing parts of the poems, the combination of media also created a whole bigger than the parts. The drumbeat in particular tied it all together and created an arc to the series of poems that I don't know if I would have sensed had I been focused on each poem separately or reading them in a book. It's a beautiful work of art. Thank you for sharing.
Thanks, friend.
Yeah. Anonymous attendee.
Oh, Anonymous is here? Oh my God.
I know. Anonymous is everywhere. I don't know how they manage to be everywhere, but they totally are.
Yeah. Okay. What's going on? Okay. I have a few things going on. Like I said before, I've curved and do a lot of arts education. And so I've been doing a few workshops in the community that are like racial equity learning based. One's called The Whiteness Within, which I see lots of community members there all the time, which is great. And if you haven't checked it out, you should. It's really an intro course to just white supremacy culture and white fragility and how whiteness shows up in everyone's lives, even our BIPOC community members as a part of our infrastructure in this country. And we use a lot of theater techniques that have been adapted to the Zoom, but we use a lot of theater techniques and being like in our bodies, performance or warm-ups and cool downs in that workshop. And then I've been offering a few other workshops. One is called Parenting Black and Brown Bodies While White. And that is what it sounds like, kind of just a conversation with some activities around what it's like to parent Black and brown bodies, and a few other things that all kind of use these art techniques to tackle uncomfortable issues, because I think it's a good tool. And then, let's see, what else is happening? I've been performing in a dance group that's been online. It actually started during quarantine, and it was it's really great. It's called Only Skin Deep. It's organized by a local woman named Rachel, and it's for BIPOC dancers. And it's been a great way to get moving during quarantine and kind of push ourselves to create things. And then also this new element of creating a video around your dance instead of performing live, which is so different. But that's been happening. We just performed at Artists Dismantling Capitalism, and we're going to do another screening of that same set of videos sometime this month. You can find it on Facebook by just Googling like Only Skin Deep. And it's a variety of dancers. And so that's been really great to just move. I usually teach dance class, but that's stopped. And I'm just going to hold off until next fall in hopes that our community can fight our way out of this pandemic and we can all be together. It was really good dancing online and it was great to get moving, but I miss the energy of having groups of people in the room. And I think it really added to the experience. It's a dance hall dance class. So like a lot of West Indian rhythms and feeling, and it's kind of like a party vibe. So you want to be with people.
Yeah.
So those will come back next fall. And then
do you mean fall 2021 or fall 2022?
I'm going to say fall 2021 with manifestation in my chest and
nice.
hope for the best for us and our community. And then that's pretty much it. I have various random situations pop up where I'll perform or I'll speak. And you can just check out my website, which is www.mohdcreates.com. And then that is also my social media tag, which is I can put it in the chat. Those things are annoying.
Oops.
So that's my, website and my social, and you can just see what I'm doing. And then tomorrow I'm coming back to Zero to Fierce for a women's activist panel.
Yeah.
And I'll just talk about my community organizing and the need to create Black Humboldt and just other ways I support the community. So that should be fun too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's tomorrow at 3.
I believe so.
Yeah, just let me pull up the website. Yeah, that's Andy Sehik. She does that every year as part of the Zero to Fierce Festival. So
all-star lineup.
I
even
know.
including myself. So
even including
something
yourself.
to check out.
Yeah, it's usually a great panel, and I'm sure this will not be an exception. It's tomorrow from 3:30 to 5:30, and it's called Local Women in Leadership, Trailblazers, Activist. So there's Leilani Dubois, Erin Rowe, Federica Alto, Amy Uweki, and Mo Harper Desir.
Yep. So I'll
great
be there
lineup. Yeah.
Talking a whole different language, but the same one all at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah, that'll be exciting. I'm glad that you're doing that well. I'm so glad that you could join us today and share.
Yeah, this was fun. I know when you emailed me, I was like, maybe. And then and it happened.
Do
so thanks for pushing me to complete something.
You're welcome.
Thank you for everyone for coming and watching and giving me feedback. I will follow me on those little links, and then you'll see a final product that will probably be a little different than this. And that was like my first time, or like my second time watching it all the way through without stopping it when something happens,
Right.
So I also had my own processing happening.
I think I saw that while you were watching it.
I know, I was like, but yeah, thanks everybody. This was fun.
Thank you so much for doing it. We still have time for questions. If anybody has any questions for Mo or comments or want to say anything, I think that we need to set up another, open mic situation. And it just so happens that right behind this computer screen is a theater. And so that would be a great situation to have as, at the Playhouse as an open mic.
Yes, I know. As they get more comfortable, because we only had a few to begin with, and then
yeah, I know Siren Song was kind of holding down a great poetry night.
Yep, I've been to theirs.
Their Thursday night ones, yeah.
Word Humboldt.
Yeah, Word Humboldt.
And then there was Poets on the Plaza, but I actually haven't seen them even prior to COVID for a while.
Right.
They were in the Plaza View Room, but I think since pandemic, they haven't been happening, sadly.
So we'll have to,
lots to regenerate after. Once we're free.
Yeah.
In outer space.
Oh yeah.
Sunday at 7 p.m. online. I have seen that actually.
Great.
And I think that the Sanctuary has something too. We're trying to do some Arts Arcada second weekend things, and I was looking around and I found the outer space.
Yeah. Sounds like I need to really just learn what's there and then go to every single one.
Yes, come to all of them.
Everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I think there's so much available in our community, including you.
Well, thanks.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's been great to have you and great to hear about all your really moving poetry, and great the way you put it all together was really
yes, thank you. This was fun.
Yeah, good. I'm glad that it was fun and not too much of a hair puller. That's always the thing, is when you're sort of like, come on, do something. Then you're like,
Yeah,
oh,
thankfully I
is
had
it causing people to be like, I hate her?
6 weeks to put together things that were already done. So I was like,
good.
okay, I can do this. This is
Good.
really
Good. I'm glad. Yeah, so great to have you around, and thanks for showing up and doing anything. Do you have any parting thoughts or?
Everyone keep being great and showing up for your community and enjoying each other while people are willing to share.
Great.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for being here. Be well. See you in person one day.
Yeah, someday.
Okay. Bye, Mo. That was great. Mo, Harper, Desir. Coming up soon on the Zero to Fierce Festival is, let me just check my schedule here. It is The Sanctuary is coming up. And then that will be followed by a Very Ray variety show.
Wildflower.
Wildflower. Dang, right. How could I forget that? The Sanctuary is from 6 to 7, and then Wildflower Indigenous Spirit is from 7 to 8:30. This is going to be amazing. It is Sofia Madrigal. She wrote the play, and they're the family, the Madrigals, who did Manil and Her Heart as part of the festival last year. So it's going to be a great show, and they're going to show their video that they've been working on. If anybody saw them at Intersections, they were actually filming this video while they were performing with Intersections in the fall. So now we'll get to see the video that they were working on during that time. So that will be exciting. And then there'll be time for a talk back afterwards before we move into a Very Ray variety show, which will be right here at the Playhouse. They will be streaming it live with all of the cameras and sound, and Rachel Post will be playing the grand piano. I see that it is out on the stage. The grand piano is there, ready to roll. So that will be exciting to hear it be played as well.
Jackie, would you like to show the Reclaiming History Native Daughters documentary in the in-between time?
I would like to show that in the in-between time.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you, everybody, for coming around and staying here. Check out this Native Daughters documentary. It's really great. And if you have a chance to